is another example for an ellipse. Only this time I'm going to give the problem to you in what's known as general form. Does that look anything like the formula we just learned for an ellipse? No, it does not. This is in what we call general form. We want to change it to standard form. Change to standard form and graph. Any idea on how we can take an equation that looks like this and change it to an equation that looks more like that? Move things around. Specifically, what do we need to do first that we did with circles? We need to complete the square. Good. Okay. So let's just make a note of that. We will need to complete the square. Okay. So when completing the square with circles, when we had x's and y's, we moved the x stuff together. We moved the y stuff together. We moved the 4 to the other side. Or whatever number was hanging out, in this case a 4. Okay, now how do we complete the square on the x's? Half of negative 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared is positive 16. But what we add to one side, we also have to add to the other side to keep it balanced. And then the number we got when we halved it is the number that will be in the parentheses when we factor, right? So since when we halved the negative 8, we got a negative 4. Later when we factor this, ooh, we're making a major mistake.
Yes.
Don't you love it when I make mistakes? No, we hate it. Okay. We cannot complete the square if there's anything but a 1 in front of the x. So the next step is, I heard the answer, divide just the x values by 4. Just the x's. Just the x's by 4, because if we tried dividing everything by 4, what would that do to this y? We would have a fraction, and we don't want a fraction there, we want a 1 there. Okay, so we'd pull out the 4. Now we complete the square. Okay, so half of negative 2 is negative 1. Complete the square by adding 1, but we're not adding 1, we're actually adding in 4 times 1, which means we're actually adding in 4, which means we have to add 4 to the other side. Okay, now we don't need to take a 1 out of this because it's already a 1. So now we just half the 4y, and then we square it. Square the 2, which is 4, and what we add to one side, we have to add to the other side. So we've added a 4 to this, so we added a 4 there. We added a 4 to this, so we add a 4 there. So our total, negative 4 plus 4 plus 4, is 4. Okay, now we can factor these. 4x minus 1 quantity squared plus y plus 2 quantity squared equals 4. Now, do we really want that 4 there? And what do we want over here? We want a 1 on this side. So how do we turn a 4 into 1 by dividing? Divide everything by 4. Okay, that's going to turn our equation into x minus 1 squared over 1. Why did that turn into 1? Because 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then y plus 2 squared, that one doesn't reduce, so that's still a 4. But then what do we end up on the right side of our problem? 4 divided by 4 is 1. There's our standard form. Okay, now let's graph. Where is is the center of this graph?
1, -2.
The center will be located at 1, -2. Good. The value that goes the x direction is the square root of 1. The value that goes the y direction is the square root of 4. Okay? So we draw our graph and we go 1. Oh, wait, first we draw the center. So the center is at 1, -2 for the center. Then for the x direction, we go left and right a distance of 1. So there will be a point here at 0, -2. And a point here, which my point is in the way of. And a point here at 2, -2. Then for the other direction, we go a distance of 2. So we go up 2. So where will that point be? 1, 0. And then we go down this direction. So we get another point here. 1, -4. There's the ellipse. Where's the, so we know the center already. We wrote that down. There it is right there. And now we need to write down where the vertices are. I do. Where are the vertices? 1, 0, and 1, -4. Are the other two numbers vertices? No, because they are just the other dimensions on the minor axis, right? Okay, now we need to find the foci. So we do a squared minus b squared, so 4 minus 1. So what's c going to be? So c is the square root of 3. So we have to add and subtract that from the center point. They're going to be like this way and this way. Okay, so where will this focus be located? It's actually a positive 1. And then the center's at a -2. So -2 plus square root of 3 to take it up from the square root from the -2. The other focus will be located at 1, and then the center is at -2, and we subtract the square root of 3 to get down to that one. There's the foci, there's the vertices, there's the center. That's usually all you have to answer. So we went from ugly general form, completed the square, got it to a lovely standard form, and then graphed and found all important information.